Hello and welcome back to the NBA DFS Slate Breakdown for Thursday, February 27th. We got a 5-gamer on tap tonight. It's a littler one, but it is an interesting one, and we're going to break it all down. But before we do, I am your host, Tyler Wiemann, at FlatTyler83 on your DFS sites and on Twitter. Now, come join us at LineStar. $39.99 per month gets you access to all we do, all the props, all the DFS. You get it all. Also, if you've never tried us out before, go through the app stores. We have a free 7-day trial. Try us out. You get access to all the sports we cover on both props, or on the both website and the app. Now, let's dive into it position by position as always, starting with point guard. 33% owned Damian Lillard is the high owned guy today. It's a fine spot. I'm going to have a little bit. I'm not going to go super hard. Nuggets have been fairly good versus point guard, and Lillard does have Giannis back. He's got Kuzma there. There is no Portis, but all in all, I think 8,800 for a fairly healthy Milwaukee team is just a bit much. I don't mind getting some, especially on this small of a slate, but he's definitely not my highest priority. Next, we got Dante Exum, 4,200. He's popping up for me a little bit right now, too. My big warning here is he came off the bench and only played 11 minutes the other night. He likely does suit up here, but if he's not starting, I don't know if I can count on his 20 minutes. And so that's my one warning here. I think he's really only popping up as far as high ownership because right now there's not a ton of value out there. The injuries that we do have where guys have been sitting, it's, spots where they've been injured for a while. And so the prices have risen on them a little bit. Not a ton of value out there. I think Dante is just kind of popping because of that. If he stays high owned, to me, it's kind of a fade spot just because he's not going to play big time minutes. So that ceiling is outcomes are going to be few and far between. I mean, he got going on this game, but that was a game where there was also no Kyrie Irving, and he just had way more usage. So I just don't expect him to really pop today. Next, we got Kyrie Irving, 9,200, 28% owned. I'm getting to a little bit of him. It's obviously a good spot versus the Hornets, who just aren't good in general. He's had that ceiling. He's had those 50-point games. He's had 60-point games like the other night versus the Lakers. I'm fine going back here at 9,200. I would much prefer him for 400 more than Lillard. Now, pivot times, 8,100, Jamal Murray. Murray's been playing a little bit better lately. It's in a tightly contested 240.5 game total, only a 4-point spread. I expect Murray to play some solid minutes here, and if he gets it rolling, he can really fill the bucket and the stat sheet. So at 8,100, I'm very interested in Murray. I think the ceiling is there. I think he's going lower owned than he should be, and I'm interested in that game as in general. 6,200, Jose Alvarado. The price is up there. My worry here is, he plays limited minutes. However, the situation is there's no Kelly Olynyk and no Bruce Brown. I think the minutes are going to be there. And I think there's a very good chance that without Olynyk and against the Suns, which will have, Beal and Booker as the 1 and 2, I think there's a little bit higher likelihood that Alvarado is in the starting lineup as they want a little more defense on Beal/Booker. Now, 6,200, I'm totally fine getting there if he's starting. If he's coming off the bench, I still think this is one of those games that he could have 30 minutes off the bench, but I will be a little bit more hesitant to play him as those minutes are much more volatile. He could have 20 like he did the other night, or he could have 30. Obviously, that is a giant difference in what his outcome would be like. So little reservation if he's not starting. If he's starting, I like him, but his ownership's probably going to be way higher if he's starting, just to let you know. Now, getting into the point guard spot on DraftKings. We got AJ Green, 3,600, 24% owned. people are thinking he's going to play big time minutes. What has he done the last few games? 30, 37, 30, 33. One of those was in start. If he's playing 28 plus minutes, we have him at 28 right now at 3,600 with a slate that doesn't have a ton of value. Makes a ton of sense that he is getting a ton of run. I'm fine going there if no value opens up. If his ownership stays up and more value opens up, I'm probably going to peel off him a little bit, but fine getting a little bit at this point with how things lie. Devin Booker, 8,800, 21% owned. I like Booker. I like facing the Pelicans in a 236.5 game total. It's 8.5 point spread. Suns are favored. I like this lineup that they've been running out with Booker, Beal, KD, Bol, and Richards. I hope that is the lineup they stay with today. No idea if they do or not, but it is an interesting spot for me, and I don't mind getting to some D-Book in this situation. He can hit 50s with regularity, and also there's pluses on top of that, and he's in a good spot. Damian Lillard, we covered. Spencer Dinwiddie, 4,200. If he's starting, fine. If he's not, just minutes are hard to come by, and I don't love the spot in that situation. Getting over to shooting guard on FanDuel. We got Max Christie, Dante Exum, and Brad Beal. Christie, 5,400. If he starts, he's going to play big minutes. That is what he has been doing in his starts. In his last 5 starts, he's averaging 35.5 minutes per game. It's in a good spot versus the Hornets. He's at 0.68 fantasy points per minute as a starter on the season, but it's 0.79 over the last 5 games, and he's right around 0.8 fantasy points per minute so far with the Mavs. He's in a role where he's shooting a decent amount when he's starting. 13 shots the other night. It's just only 4 went in. So the ceiling's there. He also gets a couple blocks and steals. I'm interested in Christie on this small slate for sure. Exum we covered. Brad Beal, 7,400. Dude went nuts when I said he didn't have a ceiling the other night. But he did play 43 minutes. And that also can show us the point. The last few games, 38, 41, and 43. If you want to put him at 38, 40 minutes, he's going to pop for you for sure. He's 0.9 fantasy per minute guy on this team in a good spot. I'm interested if he's going to play that big type minutes, which it looks like he probably does, as he has the last few games. Grayson Allen, 4,800. He played 30 minutes off the bench the other day. That was in a OT game, so extra minutes going his way. We have him at 25 today. He's been around 24, but he is a guy that has a ceiling. The shot just needs to be falling. He's only 4,800. I don't think it's very likely that he's over 30 plus, but he is a nice little pivot option and gives you some extra value. And if that 30 plus burger comes, then he's looking pretty good. Anthony Edwards, 9,700 versus the LA Lakers. I'm absolutely interested in Ant in this spot. He's going low owned. There's a giant ceiling. That ball is going to have to be going in the bucket for the Timberwolves to really have a chance in this. They're only 6.5 point favorites, but the team has Naz Reid, McDaniels, and Edwards. Those are the producers right now, and that means Edwards just has to keep scoring, and he's been doing it very, very well since the start of this new year. So I'm fine going back to Ant. It is definitely a little hard for him because he's so scoring heavy at 9,700 to give us 60, but it is possible, and I'm fine to get different. KCP 4K is popping a little bit for me just because the amount of minutes he is likely to play. Generally, he's around 30 minutes, and or 30, 32, 34. And the situation today is obviously Jalen Suggs is still out. Cole Anthony left the game and didn't return last time out. He is questionable. Anthony Black is likely the point guard starting today, but they really just don't have many ball handlers in the game today. And so with that, I think KCP becomes a little bit more interesting, and He's one of the only value guys right now that we can really count on for playing big minutes as long as this game stays close. So interested in KCP, but that is one of the spots I will for sure roll off of if more value opens up. Shooting guard on DK, Christie, Beal, AJ Green. We covered them all, so getting on over to small forward on FanDuel. We got Jaden McDaniels, 39% owned. I'm going to have a lot of Jaden. Versus the Lakers, it's a fine spot, but his price just hasn't really gone up much, and dude keeps producing. I'm going to keep going back. I mean, the chance of him being in 40s is decent right now. Guy is right around 0.96 or 0.99 fantasy points per minute without Randall and Gobert out there. I think he can do some work, and he's going to play huge minutes as he has been. So definitely like some Jaden McDaniels. Christie, we went over PJ Washington, 7,500. He played last game, so I'd expect he's back today. He is technically questionable right now, but this guy just had 32 fantasy points without scoring a single bucket. 0 points, 10 rebounds, 4 blocks, 5 assists, and 1 steal. His usage is there. He still took 9 shot attempts. Just didn't score a bucket. You know, that happens occasionally. And if you're not shooting well and you're still shooting the ball 9 times, it means the team and you have confidence in your shot, and it's going to start falling eventually. I am absolutely on PJ Washington in this spot. His usage is just too high with this team devoid of bigs. Lively, Gafford's still out. Powell is questionable. He played last game but barely played. Washington's going to get plenty of run in this spot, and I'm fine going back there. Pivot-wise, we talked about Allen and Edwards. Trey Murphy, 8,400. No Kelly Olynyk again. I think his minutes are going to be in that 36-38 range like they've been. And versus the Phoenix Suns, you know, there's potential for a high-scoring game here. So I am very interested in some Murphy, who really has got to do a lot of things on this court with this current team, and he's been doing it. I mean, look what he's been doing over the last, month and a half, 2 months, constantly in the high 40s with almost 60-point ceiling at 8,400. I got to go here in a 236.5 game total. I'm surprised he isn't higher owned, actually. Rui Hachimura, 5,800. Price coming down a little bit, and I like it. He is more productive with Luka there. He's like 0.95 fantasy points per minute with Luka there, and it keeps happening. He's also playing some real solid minutes on the court. I think he has some safety with him at this price, and he can definitely get into the 30s, mid-30s, upper 30s if the shot's falling. So I don't mind going to some Rui. Going to small forward on DK. Max Christie, Brad Beal, Dante Exum. We talked about them all again. So getting on over to power forward. Jaden McDaniels, Naz Reid, and PJ Washington. Naz Reid, 7,900. There is no Rudy Gobert. That means I'm playing Naz Reid. He plays a ton of minutes right now. He has huge upside as he's been in the 50s and high 40s regularly since he's entered the starting lineup. I'm going to go here. And I'm probably going to have a lot of Naz Reid in this spot, especially with him being both power forward and center eligible. 7,900 is just too cheap for me not to go there. Pivot. Draymond Green, 6,500. We played him the other night. He went nuts. I think 6,500 for his consistency of mid-30s is too low, and then he has a little more ceiling playing the center spot. Now, it's a tough spot versus the Magic. This is a slow-paced game. They only have a 98.2 opponent pace, the Magic here, so a little worried about that, but I think it should be a close game. And in a close game, Draymond's minutes could go up to 30, 32 minutes, and then that gives him a lot more ceiling. Fine going to Draymond. Murphy we covered. Rui we covered. Bol Bol got the surprise start. I love me some Bol if he's starting. If he's not starting, I'm not playing him because his minutes are going to be in the tank. Might play 24, might play only 10. If he's starting, he's been playing minutes. 30, 33, 32 the other night. 32 was in that overtime, so he did get a few extra minutes. But if he is starting, I would expect 26 to 28. He's a 1.26 fantasy point per minute guy as a starter so far this season. And we got a 236 total. I'm going to have a lot of bull if he is starting. The issue is that game starts 2 hours after lock, and we may not know if he is starting. Getting over to power forward on DK, Carlo McCavick, 4K, 35% owned. With Noah Olynyk, he should get extra minutes. I would expect him in the 22, 24 range. We have him at 28 right now. That is possible between playing, backup 4 and backup 5. I just don't think it's likely. I think he will have to play very well to get to that type of minutes. But is it possible? Yes. And can he hit 30? Yes. So I'm fine playing a little bit. I do think he's probably going a little over-owned with really not knowing how those minutes are going to shake out. Bull, PJ Washington, we covered. On to center. We got Naz Reid. We got Carlo. Covered both of them. We covered Draymond. Nick Richards, 4,700. Look, he's going to start for the Suns. He's going to play limited minutes. Only played 16, but had 5 fouls in that 16 minutes the other night. But regularly is more in that 22 to 24. If he plays well, maybe he gets a little extra run to like 28-ish. But he produces at over a fantasy point per minute. And he's in a good spot versus the Pelicans, who are 29th overall versus center. I like this play because he can get into the 40s. He's super low owned, and he's only 4,700. So it gives you some value on a slate where I don't really love the centers, and the centers I do like, I can play at power forward also. So I'm fine having a little Nick Richards, even though it gives you a ton of volatility in that center spot today. You're going to need to find some upside somewhere, and I think he is one of the spots you can that gets you a little different. But obviously it's risky. He's 4,700. He can give you 20, or he can give you 40. So do with that what you will. Next, we got Jokic. Right now, it's very, very hard to get to Jokic. I would expect a few more injuries pop up throughout the day that maybe opens up a little bit more value. But my big thing here is, on these small slates, if you have a guy that drops 80, even if he's almost 13K, it kind of becomes a had to have him thing to win. So I'm definitely going to be trying to play some Jokic if he continues at 6%. Do I love this matchup? No. Is it a decent matchup? Can he win in this matchup? Absolutely. He had 74 versus them last year. So it's possible. And this year, I would say he's probably playing better than he was last year. And he's been living right around 70 fantasy points for, the new year. And if you go back to last year, he was crushing it too. The guy has been absolutely insane, and I am going to probably get some Jokic. On to center on DK. We got Carlo, we got Jokic, and we got PJ Washington. Jokic's popping up a little bit more here because there's a little more value on DraftKings with pricing. So I'm fine to go with some Jokic over here, and that will do it for us today. Have a good one. Let's make some money, and see you guys tomorrow. Peace.